The main question that I had going into this movie was, is The Brutalist the Oppenheimer of this year? I just got done seeing Wicked, and the first thing I must say is that I was in fact a Wicked hater before I saw this movie. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked me a little Wicked. I liked me a bit of Wicked. Once again, I am not watching Emilia Perez unless I feel so deeply inclined to for some crazy reason. Like I feel like I really need to see it or something, but as of right now, no, simply no.
Hey, how y'all doing?
This video should be titled Girl Who Doesn't Like the Oscar Best Picture Nominees This Year Watches the Oscar Best Picture Nominees This Year, but I digress. Here we are watching the Oscars Best Picture Nominees this year. Why is that low-key a tongue twister? Kind of a vlogish vibe I guess this video is going to turn into. Kind of similar to last year-ish, but this is like, it's going to be over like the entire month of February instead of just like a week leading up to the Oscars, so that's going to be fun. First, let's start off with movies I have seen before the official nominations list came out. So I've only seen Anora and Conclave, 2 out of 10, which is kind of crazy. Last year I saw like 4 out of 10, so I only had to watch 6 movies last year leading up to the Oscars because I had seen 4 other ones. This year I need to watch 8 of them, but I'm actually only going to be watching 7 of them because I refuse to watch Emilia Perez. No. Now watch Emilia Perez. If you're watching this video, you probably understand the reason why I stand with all the people that are against this movie. And I stand with the people that are gobsmacked that this movie got 13 nominations. I think it was 13 or 11. I think it was 13. Anyway though, I'm gonna be watching 7 movies for this video over the month of February, mostly like in the last 2 weeks. I think I'm trying to remember. Recall's doing the thing where it's like issuing the best picture movies and you can like go in and see them, etc., just like they did last year, and I'm doing it again this year. Here we are again this year. Some are like already kind of out, so I can kind of see them before that, but others are like specifically like during that week leading up to the Oscars. So yeah, this video is gonna be spanning the test of time. I'm not excited to see any of these movies. Like I said, girl who does not like the Oscar Best Picture nominees this year watches the Oscar Best Picture nominees this year. Once again, that's slightly a tongue twister, kind of hard to say. I think out of these 7 movies that I now have to watch after I've seen the first 2, which let me harp on Anora and Conclave really fast because I won't be able to talk really super in depth about them because I'm not going to be reviewing them for this. Anora, love you, Mikey, Madison. You will always be famous to me. No matter what happens, you will always be famous to me. Anora as well. I really love that movie. Also, like, I have a video of me talking about Anora, so go watch that video. Conclave, I did not expect to love you as much as I did, but I freaking love you. I love Conclave. The fact that it's not nominated for cinematography is blasphemy to my ears, and I hate that for them. And yeah, Conclave, I love you. Anora, I love you. Glad I watched those movies. So moving into the 7 that I will be watching for this video, I'm not excited for like any of them. I think I'm only excited for 3, which are, I'm kind of excited to see The Brutalist. I'm definitely excited to see I'm Still Here, and I'm also excited-ish to see Nickel Boys, even though I do try to stay away from like those type of movies, black trauma type movies, black trauma 60s, black people in the 60s type movies, because it's just sadness. But since it's nominated for Best Picture, I will be seeing it, and also I'm intrigued to see it as well. So yeah, 3 out of 7 I'm excited to see. The rest, we'll see what happens. And yeah, cut to whatever movie I'm seeing first, whatever day that is. I don't know. I don't really have everything super planned out right now, but this is the intro. Hello, I just got out of watching The Brutalist. Does it look like it? It does. It should. I feel like I do look like I just sat through a 4-hour-long movie. I came in at 2 o'clock. It's 6:16 now. So, yeah. Did I just watch a 4-hour-long movie? Yes, I did. The main question that I had going into this movie was, is The Brutalist the Oppenheimer of this year? Because I feel like there was a lot of people like giving this like rave reviews, like kind of like Oppenheimer vibe, like, oh, this is definitely gonna sweep, this movie's so good, blah 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 blah. So that's why I went in thinking, I'm like, okay, this is our year's Oppenheimer. And now it's time for me to answer the question, like, is that true? Can I say yes, it is the Oppenheimer of this year? I don't know yet. I'm gonna hold out until maybe the end of this video or something, because this is the first movie that I'm seeing. This is the first Oscar Best Picture movie since the list came out of what the nominees are. This is the first one I'm going in to see. I already had seen 2 before this, but this is the first one I'm going in to see with the nominations officially out. So I want to kind of wait, because I'm gonna say it doesn't immediately give Oppenheimer you need to sweep every single award kind of vibe. I'm gonna say that, and we're just gonna start by saying that. First, let's just jump into like the technical stuff. The editing, I think I like the editing a lot. That was pretty good. So I'm getting comfortable. I was just sat for 4 hours. I need to get comfy. The editing was good. I like the editing for the most part. I can't remember like the other technical stuff it's nominated nominated for, but I will say, like, I did like the editing for the most part-ish. It wasn't super special, but the moments where it was Laszlo and like his wife, I can't think of her name right now, I'm so sorry, like I can think of her name, but I just can't think of the way to pronounce it properly, so I'm not even gonna try. But Laszlo and the wife, like when they were doing like letter exchanges before she came to America, the editing during those moments were really nice. I liked that. And yeah, the cinematography was good. I think it didn't like crazily stand out to me, but there were some moments where I was like, oh, the camera work here is like really good. There was this moment where it was Laszlo and then Gordon. We're gonna talk about my man Gordon later, but they were like at a like club or something. Like a lot of the camera work during that moment was like really good. I really like the cinematography there. Yeah, cinematography gave in some points. Once again, nothing truly to write home about, I'll be honest. Next, Adrien Brody's performance. He was really good in this. It does make sense to me why he's getting all those accolades and why everybody's like raving and raving about him in this. It was very good. I went in knowing that people are like really praising his performance in this, so I was like, I'm going in, I'm gonna be clocking the scenes like where he's giving, you know, Oscar nominated actor, and there were many scenes where he was giving Oscar nominated actor. A lot of like really deep and emotional scenes. There were a lot of moments like that for him, so yes, his performance is very good. I think that's it for like the technical stuff off the top of the dome. I do have notes that are on my phone, which I'm recording with, so if I'm forgetting some things, maybe I'll insert some text on screen or something of things that I wrote in my notes that I forgot to mention. Now let's just talk about the movie like overall itself, my thoughts on it. So we all know that the movie was long, but did it feel long? Did it feel like 3.5 hours? Yes and no. There were some moments where like the pacing was like so good, like it felt like we were moving really well, things didn't feel like long and drawn out and blah blah blah, and then like we would go from that good pacing to moments that were like super long and drawn out. Specifically, like anytime it was a scene between Laszlo and Harrison, like their scenes, I don't know why, but like them having like their little like philosophical like life discussions and discussions about architecture and like their combos there, the longest scenes, like anytime those two were like having a one-on-one moment, the longest scenes, like it felt so long. Literally one of the first combos they have with each other, and like they're at Harrison's house. It's after he invited him to his house. He's like raving about him to all his friends and whatever, and like they have like a little sit down moment, and Harrison's like, I think his name is Harrison, right? Harrison, whatever. He's like going on this like long tangent about like a story with his mom and like his grandparents. I tuned out and then I tuned back in, and then it was too late, and I kind of forgot the story. It was like some like long-winded story, and I was like, what? And then the last hour definitely felt pretty long. I was like waiting for us to get to like a point, to any sort of something, and it just took so long to get there, and it just felt so long and draggy, like the last hour and a half. And there were a lot more of those moments where it was like, oh, we have good pacing, and then suddenly now we're slowing down, and it's like, can we just keep this momentum? A lot of moments like that happened in the last hour. And then the epilogue, though, I did enjoy the epilogue moment. I feel like that kind of like in a way full circled some things, because yeah, I'm just gonna say that. I don't want to harp on it too much because I feel like I don't know too much about it. I don't want to speak on something that I feel like I don't have like a fully good grasp on. But I will say I did like the vibe of like the epilogue moment. Like it definitely felt, because it took place in 1980, and it definitely felt very like an 80s vibe, and I liked that a lot, and just how it was edited. That editing was nice there, and also the music and the score during that moment too. Really like that. Perhaps maybe my favorite part, I don't know. But yeah, so it was a long movie. It definitely did feel long at points, and yeah. Anyway, though, let me harp on some characters really fast. First up, Gordon and his son. I love them. I loved Gordon. He was a very minor character, but I don't care. Like, I loved him, and I loved their little friendship in a way. Like the line, waiting for food, and then like suddenly now we're friends, and like I'm helping you get this job, and blah blah blah. And he was like really mean to him in the end, and I hope they kind of like resolve that, because we don't see that. But yeah, I hope Mr. Laszlo treated my man Gordon right at the end of the day. But I digress. Next, Leslie, the other contractor architect guy that like Laszlo had to work with for a bit on the, you know, construction thing, whatever. I really like Leslie. He was funny to me. He gave me a giggle here and there, and I don't think he was meant to be a funny character. No, nothing in this movie was meant to be funny, actually, but he gave me a giggle. His vibe was funny, and I do mean that in a good way. I do mean that in a nice way, not in a mean way. Leslie, the contractor architect guy, I liked you. And he's so minor, so random, but like I liked him. I love me some little minor characters that are just like here for a little bit and they give me a good vibe. One thing about me is I'm gonna love a little minor character, random minor character in a movie. And then third, Joe Alwyn. I hope you stop getting typecast as an asshole soon. Like, please, please, please. I hope that happens to you soon, because why? And I'm specifically thinking about him in this movie, obviously. Also him in Kinds of Kindness, Worst Person Ever. And then also him in Conversations with Friends. I haven't seen that in a really long time, but I'm pretty sure he was not. I'm pretty sure from what I remember, he was not a good guy in that either. So now. I hope he stops getting typecast as an asshole soon. I think he deserves better things. What else is there to say? Oh, I actually really love the intermission moment during this. It was built in like so nicely and so clean. I thought it was like an intermission like done by the movie theater, like it's just like, oh, this is where it's supposed to cut, the screen goes off or whatever, and then we come back and then it's like, you know, that's how I thought it was gonna be. I don't think I even explained that well, but no, it's like literally built into the movie. I didn't know it was exactly like that, and that was really nice. The way it faded out into the intermission was good, and the way the movie faded back in during like the last like 30 seconds of the intermission, like the sounds start building back in, start slowly building back in, and that was really good. I really like that. And the last thing I need to say is it did feel like pulling teeth, like me trying to find the right time to go see this movie, and like me trying to be like, okay, I'm in the right headspace, I can sit through a 4-hour movie right now. Like there were moments where I'm like, I'm actually just like not gonna see this movie, like I'm simply just not gonna see this movie. I don't know, like I just don't think I can do it. But at the end of the day though, I'm glad I saw it. It wasn't crazily epically good, but I'm glad I saw it. It was good. It wasn't bad. I will say that. It was not bad. It was good. Was it great? Do I love her? No. Would I see it again? No. I think that's all I have to say. I'm really tired now, and I hope all of this made sense. It probably didn't, because I feel like a lot of times I don't make sense. Also, the lighting's a little crazy, but let's pretend it's fine. See you for when I watch whatever else, what I'm watching next. I actually have no idea what the next thing I'm watching is, so it's gonna be as much as a surprise for me as it will be for you watching this video. Okay, bye-bye now. Hello! I feel like my hat looks a little weird, but let's not talk about it, I guess. I just got done seeing Wicked, and the first thing I must say is that I was in fact a Wicked hater before I saw this movie. Actually, I feel like hater is like kind of like an exaggeration. I just got like wickeded out like very fast, very easily, and it made me not want to see the movie when it came out, like when it first came out. It was getting shoved too far down my throat, and I was like, get this movie away from me, get this movie away from me. Like one thing about me is like, if I see something too much, and I hear people talking about it and like raving about it, I'm gonna go against the grain and be that stupid little contrarian and be like, don't talk to me, like I don't want to know anything about this movie. Like, you know what, I hate this movie, I hate this person, I hate this song, like I hate it, like get it away from me, get it away from me. Maybe not I hate it, but definitely like get it away from me. Like I don't want anything to do with you. That's how I was with Wicked, because it was just getting shoved too far down my throat, and I was like, I don't care. Now I finally watched Wicked because it's nominated for Best Picture. Obviously, this is what this video is. And frick it, I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked me a little Wicked. I liked me a bit of Wicked. I liked it. Thank you. So yeah, maybe that just goes to show I should not be contrarian, and I should listen when people are trying to shove something down my throat. No, and not gonna happen. That's simply never gonna happen. But I'm okay with like going back on my word. I'm okay with like changing my mind at the end of the day. Like once I do finally listen to that artist or like watch that movie or TV show or whatever, I'm okay with going back on my word and being like, you know what? I see what the people are seeing in this. And I do in fact see what the people are seeing in Wicked. Let's move into some of the technical stuff. Production design, giving, costume design, very fun. I wouldn't be surprised if it took those. I still haven't seen a lot of the other ones, but I don't think there's another movie that's nominated that's like gonna have super fun, intricate production design and costume design as this one. Also, I was giggling a lot throughout this movie, and I fear it was mainly because of Miss Ariana Grande. And dare I say, she has been getting snubbed this award season. I have not seen Emilia Perez. I don't know if I've already mentioned it, but I will not be seeing Emilia Perez, and for reasons that will be disclosed later, or maybe I already disclosed them, I don't know. I'm not explaining it right now, but just know I'm not watching Emilia Perez for this video, so I can't say if Zoe Saldana has been deserving these awards she's been getting this award season, but I will say that Miss Ariana deserves something because she was really good in this. And I don't know why I'm saying it so surprised. Like I was a bit of an Ariana Grande fan back in my day. We love Victorious and her music and etc, but I fell off as one does with artists, and then I was watching her in this like kind of like a new, like that's the first time I've seen her in something or really like paid attention to her in a nice little minute. So seeing this, I'm like, oh my gosh, her performance is actually so good in this. Like the dramatics and the theatrics of her character, and how she did it really well, and it was like over dramatic but like not in a cringe way. It was actually in a very good way and very interesting, and I really loved how she played this character. And double dare I say, I liked her performance more than Cynthia's. And yeah, I don't know, like Galinda, she was just very interesting, and the way Ariana played her was very well. I feel like Ariana Grande was giving exactly like who that character is and what that character is supposed to be, and it was just a really good performance. Sue me for saying that, sue me, but I feel like she's been getting snubbed. I don't know who else is nominated in the supporting actress category aside from Zoe Saldana, but I will say right now, I wouldn't mind if Ariana Grande took it home. I really liked her performance in this. and I will sing that from the rooftops. Overall though, the movie was really good. I'm interested to see where we go for part 2 because I don't know, I just really can't see like a full-length movie. Like what else is there to say that won't be like said and done in like a nice like chunk of like an hour? I can't imagine another 2 hours 40 minutes movie for like whatever else is gonna happen. I'm interested, and I also know I could easily like look up and see what happens, but I don't want to do that. I don't want to do any research. I just want to wait for part 2 to come out, and I'll get on that Wicked train with the rest of you and have a ball when part 2 comes out. I'm interested to see it. I'm interested to see what happens, and I could look it up, but I refuse to. And please don't tell me down in the comments below. What else do I need to say about this movie? Oh, Jonathan Bailey, my heart. I love that man. He's another one that low-key keeps getting typecasted as like an asshole, but in the way of like, you're such a charming asshole that I'm like, and I will fall for you, Anthony Bridgerton, and I will fall for you, Prince, whatever his name was in this movie. And there's some other roles that he's been where he's been an asshole, but like in a charming way that I can't think of right now, so I'm not gonna speak on it, but he keeps getting typecast as that, and I quite like it. Like, he's just Jonathan Bailey. Hi. Hey. Oh, also, yeah, the music was good. I'm not surprised by that. I am a musical girl. Like, I'm not a maybe that's a bit too much. I'm not a musical hater. It's funny because every time I do go into like seeing a musical, I am like, oh, I feel like this is gonna be like not my vibe, but usually it always is my vibe. Like Tick Tick Boom, my vibe. Tick Tick Boom, my vibe, bro. I really love that movie, and I went in thinking like, I don't think I'm gonna like this that much, but I really do like that movie, and most of the songs were awesome too. Maybe I am a musical girl because every time I come out of a musical, I do feel like I've enjoyed and I had a good time. So yeah, for now though, I'll see you later. I do not know what I'm gonna watch next. Once again, I have no idea what I'm gonna watch next. I didn't even expect to watch Wicked like this soon. I was gonna wait until like a few weeks from now, but I had to do it because of like some scheduling stuff. So I went to my local Regal and watched it now. I don't know if I'm seeing anything else this week, best picture wise. Once again, the next movie that I'll see will be as much as a surprise for me as it will be for you. Bye-bye for now. Hello, I just got out of watching A Complete Unknown, and where shall I begin with my thoughts on it? First, I need to say I was in the most packed theater ever. It was 11:30 showing, packed theater. That's crazy. That's a bit crazy bonkers. I didn't expect that. I was trapped between two people. Really fun for me. Very fun. I think I put a clip of that in. Whatever. I think I might have said this earlier, but this is like one of the movies that I was not really interested in watching. I was not excited to watch. I didn't care for it. I remember in the weeks leading up to it, I would like see a movie at the movie theater, and this friggin' trailer for this movie was always playing, and it really like, I just didn't care. I don't care. So yeah, I was not excited to see this movie. When it got nominated, I was like, oh, now I have to force myself to watch this. But like I said with my Wicked part of this, I will, you know, hate on a movie and then watch it, and if my mind changes, like I will say, hey, I was wrong. I will hold in my hands and be like, hey, I was wrong. Like, this movie's actually good. Like, I'm open-minded for that. Happened last year with Oppenheimer. Didn't want to see that movie, ended up loving it. So I will hold my hands up and say, hey, I was wrong if a movie warrants it. But just to start us off, I went into this movie not excited to watch it, and I ended this movie not a changed woman. I'm sorry, this movie did not Oppenheimer it for me. I didn't go in hating it and come out loving it. I'm sorry about it. I don't know, honestly, once again talking about last year's Best Picture noms, this movie is very like Maestro coded to me. Like, I went in like not giving a darn about watching Maestro, and I ended it still like not caring. It was a perfectly fine movie. This was a perfectly fine movie, and yeah, I feel like that's like the gist of my general vibe of this movie. It was perfectly fine. There were definitely two distinct like halves of this movie, like the first half versus the second half. And I thought like the first half definitely felt a little slow paced, like, you know, the world building, we're learning some background and we're slowly like getting into this guy's life, whatever, this part of his life, whatever. And then when the second half started, like it definitely felt like a distinct, like this is first, this is second. When the second part started, it definitely felt like the same. I thought the vibes were going to change a little bit. Maybe we'd become a little faster paced. Maybe the pacing would pick up a little. It didn't. It kind of just stayed the same vibe of like what the first half was. So I initially kind of wanted to come out here saying like, oh, the beginning was slow, but then we picked up. We didn't. It honestly felt like the same pacing throughout the whole thing. Not necessarily super, super slow, but just very like I don't know, a little draggy here and there, some parts, whatever. Anyway, my favorite part about this movie was Elle Fanning, my girl. That was the only reason I was like, you know what, maybe I will have actually a good time watching this movie because Miss Elle Fanning's in it. If I didn't know how much she was in it, I was like, is she just gonna be in it for a little bit? Like, how big is her role? Whatever. She was actually in it a fair amount, and I would actually say like half. Like in general, like she was in it like half. She was in it, and then she was like gone for a bit, and I thought she was gone forever. And then she came back for a little bit, and whatever. She was my favorite part about this, and I might be saying that biasly because I just am an Elle Fanning girly, but she was really good. And it doesn't make sense to me like why she wasn't nominated for like a supporting actress nom for this like the other girl was. Melissa? It's either Monica Barbaro or Melissa Barbaro. I think it's Monica. I could be wrong. I literally just wrote it down and now I'm forgetting. If Monica was nominated for a supporting actress nom, I don't understand why Elle also wasn't, because their performances felt very like same. Elle was giving, Monica was also giving. Maybe it's because of like she also did like singing and guitar playing, like that was also part of her performance, Monica's. Maybe that's why she got it. But if we're just thinking about like the acting part of it, the way they gave acting wise was very similar. Like the emotions they had to give. Honestly, like there was some emotional stuff that Elle was doing and I'm like, where's her hello? She's making me want to cry about her relationship right now, like hello? So I don't get why she wasn't nominated. Either like they both should have gotten a nomination or like neither of them. But I wish Elle got one. I do wish Elle got one, and yeah, so that's a little sad to me. Overall, this movie like wasn't anything super special. Like it was good. It was perfectly fine. I don't really see the best picture-ness to it, you know what I mean? I don't know. I think it's because it's a biopic. I feel like that's why. Once again, I'm gonna roll back to Maestro. Like that was another movie that was about like a music guy and it got nominated for best picture and whatever, and that was just also like a perfectly fine movie. So maybe it's because it's the biopic of it all. One thing about the Oscars is a biopic will be nominated or a Western movie will be nominated. Surprisingly, no Westerns this year, but we do have the biopic. Complete Unknown was a perfectly fine movie. Wouldn't want to watch it again. Like it feels like a very just like a straight 3-star movie. I'm like thinking Brutalist wise, because like I didn't love the Brutalist either, but it makes sense. There's like parts about it that make sense why it's like best picture nominated. This one I just can't wrap my head around it, aside from it like being a biopic, and I'm like, okay, yeah, Timothee Chalamet was good in this and like he really gave a good performance, but then in that case he would have just gotten nominated for actor. The movie doesn't necessarily need to be nominated for best picture for the person that really did a good job with their performance to be nominated for best actor. Coleman Domingo, I'm looking at you. One day you'll get your best actor Oscar win. I promise you, like one day you will. But like he's like a prime example, like was nominated for best actor, but the movie itself wasn't nominated for best picture. So yeah, I don't know. This movie, I just don't get the best picture vibe to it. I will say that, and I'm sorry about it. Comment down below if this is your favorite movie and you're glad it's been nominated and all the reasons why it was rightfully nominated. I don't know, whatever. The last thing that I need to say though is like, Hollywood, please hold my hand when I tell you this. Not every famous person needs a biopic. I'm sorry. Hold my hand when I tell you this, Hollywood. Not every famous person needs a biopic. I'm sorry to tell you that, but it just needs to be known, because no, not every famous person needs one. But I will say with Mr. Bob Dylan, it was interesting finding out those little pieces of information at the end of the movie, like how he's like a good person or doing good things and the influential impact that one album had on music and etc. Not everyone needs a biopic. Not every famous person needs a biopic. Hollywood, thank you. Hollywood, you're not going to listen to me, and I understand that. Who am I at the end of the day? But I just still needed to say that because, yeah. Not saying that this movie was bad. Once again, not saying that this movie was bad. Not saying that Timothée Chalamet didn't do well. Honestly, I don't know Bob Dylan, so I can't really fully say he embodied that man and, like, really, like, took it in. I feel like from what I've been seeing, people are like, yeah, his performance was really great. He really, like, Bob Dylan, like, you know, mirrored whatever. He really did what he needed to do. Not saying it's a bad movie, just saying nothing special about it. I'm sorry. How many times am I gonna say that? I'm sorry. Zoomy. I don't know. I'm done talking about A Complete Unknown though, and I actually do know what next movie I'm going to be watching, and it will be The Substance, from the comfort of my own home, because I cannot see that movie in the movie theaters. I am a girl who's scared of gore, so why would I go see The Substance in a movie theater? You're crazy if you think that. So I will be watching that movie tomorrow from the comfort of my own home, and I will see you for that. Thank you. Bye-bye now. If you love A Complete Unknown, I'm sorry that I don't like it. Okay, bye. Hello, I just finished watching The Substance. Actually, I watched it last night, but I just wanted a night to like sit with my thoughts for a bit before I talked about it. So here we are now talking about it. As I said in the clip before this, I'm pretty sure I am a girl that's scared of gore, Not necessarily girl that's scared of like scary movies, depends on the kind of scary movie, but girl that's scared of gore, that is me. So aside from that aspect of the movie, the goriness to it, I thought I would end up really liking this movie just because of how much people like raved and shouted from the rooftops how great this movie was whatever. But I actually didn't like it as much as I thought I would. Like, I thought I would really like it, and the only like gripe I would have with the movie is the fact that it was just like scary and gory. I thought that would be like my only qualm with it. But yeah, like actually overall I didn't really like it that much, and we'll get into the nitty-gritty of that in a little bit. First though, let's get into the technical stuff. So simply, why wasn't this movie nommed for sound or cinematography? I am actually very surprised by that, because the sound in this movie was doing things. The Foley artist on this movie, he was doing things, and I'm just like, why wasn't this nominated for sound? And also cinematography, like there were so many like really cool, interesting shots in this movie. I'm very surprised it wasn't nominated for cinematography. Literally, I clocked that like in the first 10 minutes of the movie. I was like, whoa, the sound is kind of killer here, and also the cinematography is kind of giving. Let me Google like what was this nommed for, and it's not nommed for either of those things, Oscar nommed. And I'm just like, that was very surprising information to see. And guess what was nominated for sound? We'll talk about that. I don't even want to talk about it right now, but I'm just like, compared to the other things that are nominated for sound, I'm just surprised this wasn't. And then also compared to the other things that were nominated for cinematography, I'm also surprised this wasn't. Yes, but I will say there were so many like sound moments, like definitely like ASMR type sounds, like, oh, why am I hearing him eating this shrimp so crazily, and like why are we like really like beating this, like there were some moments of just like we're really beating down the sound with it. It was like, okay, you're pushing it. It was like, okay, you're pushing it a little bit, like let's chill. So like maybe that's why some sound moments did feel a bit excessive. We don't need to hear this in 8D audio. We don't need to hear this in the most crispiest audio ever. We don't need that. But overall though, sound was good. It should have been nommed. Next, I hated the costume design in this, wardrobe, whatever you want to call it, especially what they had Sue wearing. I'm just like, those were choices. Those were some choices that were made of her fits. A lot of it gave very like Mean Girls the musical coded, like this was from Shein type of vibe, and I'm sorry to the costume designer. I'm sorry. But it just was giving like no. It was giving like no. Also, that bodysuit she had to wear for that one moment where she's like with that motorcycle guy, and like she wore like this like crazy bodysuit. That wasn't the vibe. But I will say, when Elizabeth was about to go on the date with the guy and then she ended up not going because she just like gets too hard in her head and she thinks she's ugly, whatever. The dress that she was wearing, like that red dress, that was nice. I didn't mind that. Everything else though, especially what Sue was wearing. Like I'm just specifically really thinking about what Sue was wearing. I really can't remember what Elizabeth was wearing a lot throughout this, mainly because she started being old lady and then she wasn't really wearing anything like special. Next again. I am very sorry to the people that are gonna hate me for saying this, but in my humblest opinions, in my thoughts, whatever, I did not think Demi Moore's performance in this was as great as the people were raving about. Was it good? Yes. Was it good? Yes. Were her in the last 30 minutes / like 45 minutes like great even? Yes. But was the entire performance as a whole phenomenal? No, I'm sorry, but no, I'm sorry. Like I said, the last 45 minutes, she was great, she was awesome. If she was like giving that the whole movie, I'm listening to the critics, I'm listening to the people are saying like, yes, rave about that performance, phenomenal, great. But thinking about like the majority of the movie, not just those last 45 minutes, like thinking about the performance as a whole, it was not crazy, phenomenal, groundbreaking, boots house like people were saying. Like the people were like making me think, and maybe I went in like with too high expectations then, I don't know, because I was expecting like a performance down. And at the end, that was like given. I was like, okay, yes, I see what the people are saying. But like when it comes to like nominations and when it comes to wins, I'm thinking top to bottom. What were you doing from the beginning to the end? I need to be electrified and I need to be gobsmacked by you from the moment you step on my screen to the moment you step off my screen. Honestly, like everything besides the last like 45 minutes, the beginning parts of her performance, it honestly gave a lot of like Pamela Anderson in The Last Showgirl. Like great, really good, but nothing like super crazy special. Like she was acting and she was good at acting, but nothing super crazy special. Like this performance definitely warrants a nomination. Definitely warrants the nominations that she's been given for this. But does this performance warrant the wins that she's been getting for this movie, for this performance? No, I'm sorry, but I don't think so. And I will go back to Mikey Madison, which we will talk more in depthly at the end. But I was just captivated by her from the moment we saw Annie to the last moment we saw Annie. And I'm sorry, I'm not even talking about it right now. This is about the substance. We're going to talk about predictions later and how much I am going to later. At the end of the video, predictions, you'll hear all I need to say about Anora and everything there, Mikey Madison, the woman that she is, like later. But yeah, to really just sum up everything that I need to say right now about Demi Moore's performance, last 30 to 45 minutes, great. Beginning half, I couldn't really see what people were like trying to sell me. And then there were also some other like dramatic moments to it that kind of just like pulled me out entirely. Like some like, I don't want to say like overacting, but just some moments felt like over exaggerated maybe. And that kind of leads into what I'm going to talk about like next too. Like those shots of her like running and like thinking someone's like behind her and like running pulled me out. I'm like, what is this moment? What is happening here? That was like, what? People hate me now. People hate me for saying this stuff, but that's all I need to say about Demi Moore's performance in this. Good, not as phenomenal as people made it out to be. If we're talking about the last 30 to 45 minutes, I'll give you that, but I'm thinking about the performance as a whole, and that was good. Great. Good. Next up, I'm surprised Margaret Qualley, whatever, was not nominated for supporting actress. I feel like she was in this movie just as much as Demi, and if we're thinking about those last 30 to 45 minutes, she also gave during those last 35 minutes just as much as Demi, maybe even more so. Those shots of her like literally crying, like pulling her teeth out, and then the nail stuff and like her just like starting to spiral and stuff. Sue, girl. That was good. It's the same vibe of like a complete unknown to me, honestly. Like if Monica Barbaro was nominated for supporting actress, Elle Fanning should have been nominated for supporting actress too. If Demi Moore was nominated for best actress, Margaret Qualley should have been nominated for best supporting actress too. They did the same thing low-key. Like, honestly, like, their performances kind of gave in the same way of, like, this was really good. Margaret Qualley, I'm sorry you were snubbed. I'm sorry you were snubbed, girl. Can't say words right now, but whatever. Let's move on. Overall, my non-technical-ish thoughts to it. There were a lot of things in this movie that felt very, like, unserious and silly and goofy and just, like, overall, like, outlandish. And honestly, the whole vibe was just very, like, satirical. And I really hope that was on purpose. I don't really see a lot of people, like, raving about this movie being, like, a comedy, but this movie was very funny to me. And I hope that was on purpose. It's just a little hard to tell because, like, in addition to those, like, very, like, unserious, silly, goofy moments, I feel like most of the movie was, there were some, like, real-ish moments. And I'm like, wait, are we trying to be real? Or, like, are we faking being real? Like, what's happening? Like, moments that felt, like, grounded, I guess you could say. Like, not satirical, just very, like, this is a real moment. This is a real moment we're having. It just felt weird to go from, like, very, like, satirical, funny. Like, if you're doing these things for the purpose of them to be satirical, you're doing it. You're nailing it. It's funny. I'm laughing. Like, thinking about what I said before about those moments of her like running through the streets and like thinking someone's following her and like running, like the camera shaking with it. That was funny. And then I'm like, wait, was that supposed to be real? Because then a real moment happens and a very grounded moment happens. And I'm like, is this all supposed to be this way? I don't know. It was a little hard to tell. Are we leaning fully into satirical, silly, unserious, goofy, or are we trying to be real and grounded? I am a firm believer that you can't do both in a movie. Like, you can't be equally satirical and you can't be equally grounded. Like, it just never will land correctly. It will never land well. Like, you have to either fully lean into the satirical, into the silly, funny goofiness, into like the outlandish, over-exaggerated vibes. And I'm thinking of like a Bottoms or like a Rumors, if you ever seen that movie. That movie is very much like indicative of a movie that's like, oh, this is serious, but like not serious at all. And the way they lean into unseriousness is like so perfect. Sorry, just to go on a little tangent, like the topic of the movie and like what's happening in that movie, Rumors, is a very serious topic, but they lean into satirical and they lean into goofy, funny so much that it's like, oh, this is funny and this works, because even though like a serious thing is happening in this movie, like it's like a politics type of movie, you're leaning into funny and it's working somehow because you're fully leaning into it. This movie, it's like you can't toe the line between like satirical and funny, goofy, silly, outlandish, and then real and grounded. I'm sorry, but it just never will land well, at least not for me, because also this is like a serious topic as well, and like what we were talking about in this is like the seriousness, and then it's like, okay, so we're leaning into funny, goofy, silly, outlandish, very over exaggeratedness to it, but then we're having a real grounded moment and it's just like, it doesn't land. I don't know. Once again, I'll just say, yeah, I'm a firm believer in like, you gotta lean one way or the other, really like lean into one way or the other, maybe one or two grounded moments, but there were just like a few too many in this, and I'm like, wait, were the other moments also supposed to be like serious like this one is? Because if it was supposed to be that way, it didn't land well. It didn't work. I hope that made sense. I feel like that maybe didn't make sense. I hope that makes sense. And I'm not going to try to explain it again. So I just hope it makes sense. Did it make sense? Probably not, because I feel like I never make sense sometimes. And that's just me. Next, this is very short and sweet, but like there were some moments in this that kind of felt like a commercial. And like mainly because there wasn't a lot of dialogue in those moments. And also thinking about it, there just wasn't really a lot of dialogue in this movie like at all. There was a lot of just like them processing or like looking in the mirror, just like processing how they look and blah, 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 blah. Like there was a moment of Sue getting a soda from the fridge, and you're telling me that wasn't a Coca-Cola commercial? Like it looked exactly like it, like the vibes and like the way the camera shots were in that moment. She took a sip and she's like, ah. I'm like, this is a soda commercial, what's going on? And yeah, very minor little thing. I'm like, that's like a little funny. Another moment that was like, this is the stuff that's supposed to be funny and I'm laughing, or like very unserious, you know? And I like that, I think. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, now we're moving into like the final last two things that I need to say. At first, there was something about this movie that felt a little Barbie coded to me. Like how that movie, Barbie, was kind of just like overall like a lukewarm commentary about like womanhood and the patriarchy and like being a woman and feminism and stuff. This movie also kind of felt like a lukewarm commentary on like womanhood and getting older as a woman and pretty privilege and whatever. At first, it also felt like that, but by the end of it, I think it felt a little deeper. I don't know, jury's still out. It still just feels like tale as old as time kind of vibe, like the stuff we've been knew about this kind of like topic that this movie tackles. I don't know. Or maybe I'm just a woman. Or maybe I'm just simply a woman. So like none of this was like new news to me. Imagine this movie opening your eyes to, oh my god, I need to be nicer to women. Like it doesn't matter if you're old or young, blah blah blah. Like the old women matter too or something. I don't know. A little bit of a lukewarm commentary on it, but at the same time, I can't think of a way like how else would you have said this? You know what I mean? Like how to make it not lukewarm. I don't know. So yeah, overall, in my eyes, this movie was a comedy, and in some parts it was very stupid, and I'm not sure yet if I mean that in a good or a bad way. Like stupid non-derogatory or stupid derogatory. Jury's still out on that one too. But yeah, that's all I need to say on the substance. Somebody hates me now after I said all this. Honestly, I feel like a lot of these movies, all these things I'm saying about them, a lot of people are hating me. So, sorry about it. Sue me. Don't hate me. Sue me. I don't know. I do want to make it clear though, I didn't hate this movie. I just thought I would like it a lot more than I did. It was a good movie. I just didn't love it. That I just want to make clear. I did not hate this movie. I liked it. I did like it at the end of the day. I just thought I would like love it. I thought I'd end up loving it because of how much people like raved about it. And that's all I have to say on that. Thank you. Next up, like right now, kind of, I'm going to be watching Dune Part 2. And I just want to say a quick disclaimer. I have not seen Dune Part 1. But before I watch it, I will be like doing a little crash course because I refuse to watch Dune Part 1 because I barely even want to watch Dune Part 2. I'm gonna do like a crash course on it. I'm gonna read the plot on Wikipedia, maybe watch a video of somebody like reacting, commentarying on it basically, and I'll watch it that way. I'll watch Dune Part 1 that way, and then we're gonna tap into Dune Part 2. If you also hate me for doing that, sue me, freaking sue me, man. Like this is a rough year for me in movies and the Oscar movies. Like I think I said that at the beginning of this. So yeah, sue me. I don't care. So I'll see you after I watch Dune Part 2. Hopefully I'm wronged and it's actually a really fun movie. Hopefully that movie is my Oppenheimer. We'll freaking see. But see you after I watch Dune Part 2. Also cat cam a little bit. He sits very weird. Yeah. Okay, I just finished watching Dune 2 and for once I actually have nice things to say. Yeah! I actually really liked this movie. I actually very much enjoyed. I was entertained. And maybe that's because I went in with such low expectations for this because I'm not a sci-fi girl. I didn't think I was just gonna enjoy it simply because of that. Like I could recognize technically it's a good movie, but I didn't think I would enjoy like the plot and stuff. Surprisingly enough, I enjoyed the plot, and it was a very, actually, entertaining time for me. First, let's get into the technical stuff. Great production design, great visual effects, great cinematography. Honestly, though, there wasn't, like, something, like, super especially phenomenal about the cinematography for me, but I can still recognize that it was, like, pretty good. But yeah, overall, technically, really good movie. I wouldn't be surprised if it got, like, VFX. And yeah, now into my overall thoughts. This is gonna be a very quick and short review of this movie because I really have no gripes with it overall. The plot was interesting and I was very much into it the whole time, and like the pacing of it felt really good too. It didn't really feel like any super draggy moments. Like every part and like when we were going from different story to this story, like different stories happening within it didn't feel long and drawn out. Not really any aspects of this movie felt really long or drawn out because of the way we were going from like, okay, this is what's happening here, and now we're switching, okay, now this is what's happening here, and then okay, now this is what's happening here, now we're gonna go back to here, go back to there, and there. Not really many adult moment. I don't think there was any adult moment for me, at least watching this. While I was watching though, I did have the Wikipedia for both part 1 and part 2 open, and I was like following along, and like when something would happen I would like look back and be like, okay, this is who this person is, and this is what they did in the first movie, and this is why they're bad, or this is why they're good, and blah blah blah, here's their story. I would like look back and forth with that. And also as I was watching, I followed like the plot, the Wikipedia plot of part 2 as I was going, so I was like, okay, so this is what this means, like this is what this scene just meant, and blah blah blah. If you haven't seen Dune, if you don't really care for the lore, know really anything about the lore, I recommend doing it that way because that was actually very interesting and it kept me like understanding what was going on for a person that didn't see the first one or literally knew anything about Dune going into this. So would recommend that for the people that don't like sci-fi, don't want to watch Dune 1 or whatever, follow along with the Wikipedia and maybe you'll have actually a good time, because that's kind of the main reason why I had a good time, I think. But also it was just like a really good movie. I liked the plot points and it was very interesting. Yeah, and am I excited for Dune 3 whenever that comes? Because I think they said Dune Part 1 and Dune Part 2, that was basically just like the first book, and then now I guess they're moving into the second book. I don't know, but I just know there's another one coming soon, and I am intrigued about it, and I would watch it. Will I be rushing to the theater? Probably not, but I will watch it when it goes on streaming, maybe, because that's how I watch this movie, on Netflix. Also, it's kind of funny because, like I said, I didn't watch the first one, but all the stuff that was happening in this, like, I still felt very satisfied. Like, the bad people, like, getting what they deserved. I was like, of course, like, I'm still so satisfied, and I didn't even watch them do their bad things in the first one. I just know that they're bad people, and I'm like, I'm glad they're treating your comeuppance. I'm glad that Paul and the Freeman are getting their revenge on these people. Like, deserve. Like, yes. Like, specifically the Baron dying, and then also Dave Bautista's character dying, whose name I can't remember, so his name is Dave Bautista. Just gonna use his real name. And honestly, after watching this one and reading the Wikipedia plot for like the first one, I feel like the first one would have actually just made me like upset, because the good people like fail in that one, and like the bad people are the ones that like prevail. So I feel like I would have just been like so annoyed. This is the one, it's like you're getting your satisfaction, the good people are getting the revenge on the bad people, and the bad people are getting taken down. That's what I want to see personally. That's the good stuff, and it makes sense why that's one book, because like typically one book wouldn't be like just like the good people losing and the bad people winning, and the next book like the good people take back what was theirs and blah 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 and like prevail. That's not two separate books, that's like one book. So it makes sense to me how this was just one book, and I think if I watched the first one, it just would have annoyed me. If I had watched the first one when it came out, I think I probably would have just been annoyed, even though like the main good people do make it out in the end, but it's just like they're at their low. Like Paul and his mom, like at the end of the first one, like they're just like at the low point basically. They just like their world was shook. Me trying to explain a movie that I haven't seen, but I'm just basing it off the Wikipedia plot. Yes, me attempting that. Yes. Anyway, let me stop before I say things that I don't understand, because I barely understand. Honestly, yeah, I'm glad I had the Wikipedia pages for both movies opened as I watched this, because it was a bit complicated and I didn't understand a lot that was going on. A lot of lore, a lot of world building that I obviously missed from not watching the first one, so I'm glad that I have both pages open so that I could keep up basically with what was going on. And yeah. Dune Part 2 lovers, Dune lovers, I like this movie. Is it my Oppenheimer though? I don't know. I like the movie, but I don't know if it's Oppenheimer. I'm still holding out. I'm gonna say which movie by the end of this is my Oppenheimer, like of the new ones that I saw. Because it's like the vibe of like, I don't want to see you, but finally when I do see you, you're the one. But then it stinks because the movies that I have left, I actually do want to see them. So I guess I could say that maybe Dune Part 2 is my Oppenheimer. Honestly, out of all of the ones that I didn't want to see but I ended up seeing, because next I'm seeing Nickel Boys and then I'm seeing I'm Still Here, and I do want to see those movies. So out of the ones that I don't want to see and it feels like I'm really like forcing myself, pulling teeth to watch, I think Dune Part 2 might be my Oppenheimer. But we'll come to that conclusion, the final verdict of that, at the end of this video. For now, we kind of have a bit of a drought right now. Next up, I'm watching, I think it's I'm Still Here first. I think I'm watching I'm Still Here on Monday, and then I'm moving into Nickel Boys on Tuesday, and those are the last two movies I have to see for this video, because once again I am not watching Emilia Perez unless I feel so deeply inclined to for some crazy reason, like I feel like I really need to see it or something. But as of right now, I ain't seeing that movie. I'm not seeing that movie. No, simply no. So I'll see you Monday, which is like a nice days away right now. My computer's right here. I'll see you on Monday for when I watch I'm Still Here. Me forgetting immediately. I was about to say Dune Part 2. For when I watch I'm Still Here. See you for that. Cool. Bye. Cat cam. Hello, I just got out of watching I'm Still Here, and I really enjoyed that movie. Also, I didn't know that movie was going to be so freaking sad. I was like on the verge of tears. There was too many people next to me, another one of those packed theaters, and also I sat in the wrong seat by accident, and it was a whole whatever. It was an empty seat, so technically I was fine, but I didn't realize I was in the wrong seat, so I accidentally sat like a lot closer than I was supposed to be sitting. But it was all fine. Honestly, being that close wasn't absolutely terrible. But yeah, I'm a very sad movie. I was on the verge of tears many a times, especially towards the end, mainly towards the end. I was like holding back some tears, felt my eyes were blurry, the world's a little blurry, that one Billie Eilish song, whatever. Yeah, I didn't know this movie was gonna be so sad. I literally went into this movie very blind. All of these movies, honestly, I've been going in very blind, unless I've been seeing like trailers and stuff. But this one I saw no trailers. I didn't even read a synopsis for it. Like I literally went in this with like, I knew nothing. Simply, I knew nothing, and I had a friggin' awesome time. This movie was so good. Technically, this movie was so visually stunning. I don't know if it's nominated for cinematography, but gosh darn it, I hope it is. I freaking hope it is. I don't know if it is. I tried to Google it while I was in there, but at the same time, like, it's a movie with translations, and I need to read the subtitles, so I couldn't really look away at my phone too often to, like, do some, like, minor research for things. So I don't know if it's nominated for cinematography. It freaking should be. Also, maybe even editing. I really like the editing in this, too. Such a beautifully, visually stunning movie. I love the going back and forth between, like, the normal camera versus, like, the daughter recording stuff, and then, like, we see, like, what she was, like, recording, like the home video aspect to it too. I love that. I don't know what kind of camera that is. I'm not even gonna pretend that I know. Like, compared to, like, these days, it'd be like one of those, like, handheld, like, video camcorder type vibes, but obviously it was in 1970, so the 1970 version of, like, a camcorder, essentially. I don't know anything about cameras. Let me not pretend that I do. But it was so, like, I really love that vibe of going back and forth that way. Also, it was just such a good movie, like, such a good movie. Fernanda Torres, I get why she got nommed, I get why she's nommed. She was very, very good, very, very good throughout, but definitely specifically the obvious moment, like, when she's, like, taken to jail and stuff, and, like, that whole, like, sequence of her, like, getting questioned by the police, and then just, like, being stuck in, like, solitary, and, like, going back and forth from that, and then her coming home, and then, like, trying to, like being in the shower, like, washing, like, everything away. Like, she was there for at least, like, I think they didn't exactly say, or at least I don't remember exactly what they said, but I think it was at least, like, 2 weeks. She was gone, like, held captive there for a really long time, and that was crazy to see. Her performance during that whole sequence was perfect, and also her performance during out most of the movie. I get why she was nommed. And I think I get why she won the Golden Globe too. Will she win the Oscar? We'll talk about that at the end of this. One of the main things I want to say right now is I didn't know this was going to be based off a true story. I didn't, like I said, I went in this movie completely blind. I had no idea what I was getting into. I think the only thing I did know was it was Brazil. It's a movie from Brazil, and it takes place in Brazil. I think that's the one thing I did know, and the fact that Fernando Torres is in it, and rave reviews, good performance, that type of vibe. Everything else I did not know. So I didn't know this is based off a true story, and I also didn't even know this was going to be, like, sort of like a period piece. I don't know, like from the 70s, like, a older. I didn't know that either, but it was so good. And remember how I was like, oh, Hollywood, like, hold my hand, like, no, stop giving famous people biopics, like, not every person needs a biopic, whatever. I still fully stand by that statement, but I'm adding on to it and now saying, like, oh, Hollywood, like, give people like this stories, give people like this biopics, and, like, based on true story vibes, like, give people like that, because this story, that's another reason why I wanted to bawl my eyes out in there, because I'm like, oh my god, the fact that this is, like, true story, like, literally based off of this man's life, and, like, the wife and, like, the whole family pretty much. Oh my gosh, Hollywood, hold my hand when I tell you this. Give more people like this based off of true stories and, like, biopics. I don't know if, like, this could still be considered, like, a biopic, just, like, history, I guess, but give people like that and give stories like that. Give those the biopics and, like, the based on true stories, whatever, like, give those people movies, because wow. And also learning about all the information at the end of, like, what she did, and then, like, stuff about him, and, like, the real pictures of him and her and, like, their whole family. Stop, literally stop. I'm gonna cry. This movie was so dang good. I'm so glad I watched it, and this is one of the ones that I was actually interested in seeing, so makes sense. And it's funny how I was like, oh, I'm interested to see this, and I knew absolutely nothing about it. That kind of makes it a little funny, because I'm like, I was like, oh, I want to see this movie, but I had no idea what it was about. There's one thing, like, give a movie a nice little cover picture, and I will be signed up. And also just give a movie, like, no promo, and I'll low-key be signed up. Like, just a cover picture and, like, a name and, like, a person that somebody's like, oh, this person's really good in it, and I'll be happy to see it. And it was a great time for me. Yeah, I think that's all I need to say. I need to go now before I'm late for this thing at 4 o'clock, and it's 3:18 right now, and it takes me like 25 minutes to get home and I have to, like, change. So yeah, next up tomorrow, actually, I'm coming back here and I'm going to see Nickel Boys, and that is our last movie of this video. Woo! So I'll see you for that tomorrow. Bye-bye now. Hello, I just got out of watching Nickel Boys, and I think my notes on this are actually going to be quite short and sweet, to the point. There's not really a lot I need to say about this movie. Car passing, hopefully sound isn't too crazy. It's too hot out, so, like, I need to have windows down. It's like 70 degrees right now, and I'm wearing a sweater, and I also have a long sleeve under this, so I just need to have windows down, or I will pass away from heat exhaustion. I will burn away. So sorry for car noises. But yeah, what do I need to say about this movie? The one thing I did know going into this movie was that it was going to be a sad one, obviously. A movie about black people in the 60s, obviously that's gonna be sad. And honestly, I, like, try my hardest to stay away from those movies, because I I don't need to. I don't need to see black drama. I want to see black happiness, please. But obviously it was nominated for Best Picture, so I had to go see Nickel Boys. And even though I tried to stay away from these type of movies, I do recognize that they're important. I do recognize that they need to be made. I do recognize that. But I just personally, I like to live in happy thoughts. So yeah, even though I didn't really want to see this movie, I had a feeling that I would probably end up liking it, even though it would be like a sad vibe. But I actually didn't really like this as much as I thought I would. I still liked it, but I thought I would like it a lot more. I thought I would maybe even love it, maybe. But it was kind of just like an okay, perfectly fine movie to me. The cinematography in this was my favorite part. I don't even need to look it up. I know it's probably not even nominated for cinematography, which is sad, but like the cinematography was so good in this, and I clocked it from like the first like 5 to 10 minutes like opening shots. I'm like, this is giving. The camera work in here is giving. I love it. I love it. I love it. And it is mainly like in a first person POV, so I get like how it could feel like too much, or like somewhat of like those like found footage type of movies, which I know most people don't really like. But I kind of like the way it was done in this. It didn't feel like too overwhelming and too much like, oh, I am this person type of vibe and whatever, like a Blair Witch Project, which is like a found footage like camera movie, and like other ones like that. I'm also thinking about like Project Almanac which is my personal favorite found footage movie. I don't know about you, but it didn't feel too overwhelming because of how cool the camera work and the cinematography shots were in this. The first person POV did not feel like too overwhelming to me. It did at some points, I will say, feel very like video game-esque, where it's like, oh, I am the character, I am playing this video game. And especially more towards the end of the movie, it gave that, because then it was like more like camera shakes and stuff. But for the most part, it wasn't like too overwhelming and like too much, because there wasn't a lot of like shakiness that comes along with like those like found footage type of movies. It felt very like grounded and like, you know, I am this kid, Elwood, I am the main guy. And then it also switched to the other main guy, like his POV too. We are both of them, but it wasn't it didn't feel like too much. How many times am I gonna say that? I don't know how to explain it well, but I hope that makes sense enough. I don't know. I will say the main kid, Elwood, I wasn't the biggest fan of his acting, but it did kind of grow on me in the end. The other guy though, the other main guy, Turner, I really did like his acting. He was really good in this. Probably my favorite person in this, I think. Aside from the grandma, Miss, I think, Audrey Ellis, I think, I don't know. She's so good, but she's also just so good in everything she does. She's always serving down, always perfect. It's great. But yeah, going back to Turner, I really liked his acting, and also when it switched to his POV, I liked that too. It was surprising. I didn't expect that, and when it happened, I was like, oh, okay. So then, like, because they became friends, so we got to see actually like Elwood's face, and then we also got to see Turner, and then it's like the way it switched back and forth was interesting and cool. The cinematography was probably my favorite part about this movie. Overall though, it was like a 2 hours 20 minutes movie, and it definitely did feel that way for the most part. Like there were some like very slow moments, and then there were some moments where we did pick up a bit slow in some places, a bit boring, I will say. But overall, this movie was good. I just thought I would like it a lot more than I did. But not saying that I hated it. I did like it. I was sitting next to the most expressive white woman ever. Like literally the ending, when the obvious thing happens in a movie with black people in the 60s, when the ending happened, the way she was like shocked and like, oh my god, and like so like expressive, I was like, oh my gosh, this is I'm not gonna speak anything further on that. I'm glad she was having a good time, or maybe that was like the opposite of a good time actually, but I'm glad she was expressing how she felt about a movie. I don't know. I don't know, I haven't sat next to someone with such like expressive reactions to a movie in a really long time, so that was interesting to experience. Yeah, I'll leave it at that. We're keeping this short and sweet, nothing more to say. To wrap this up in a little bow, this was one of the movies I was excited to see. I thought I would like it a lot more than I did. I didn't hate it though. Perfectly okay movie. Like how I said like A Complete Unknown is like a 3-star movie. This is also just felt like a perfectly fine 3-star type of movie. Actually maybe like 3.5 stars, because I really did enjoy the cinematography in this, and it does sadden me that I already know. I don't even need to look it up to know that it was not nominated for cinematography. But yeah, that's all I need to say about this one. This was also the last Best Picture movie that I needed to watch for this freaking video, which is awesome. Next up, we're gonna be doing my predictions, which will be interesting. At this point, I really don't remember like what's nominated for what, who's nominated for what. I don't know, so this will probably be a very chaotic predictions part of this video. I don't know, we'll see what happens. We'll freaking see what happens. I'll see you for my predictions probably tonight, if not tomorrow definitely, but probably tonight, because I'm feeling it, and I want to get this video up as early as I can. So see you for that. Yeah, cool, bye. Hello, the time has come for us to do our predictions, and my head already hurts thinking about the things that I'm going to have to predict right now. Nothing feels clear cut except for like two things, really. Maybe like two or three. I don't know. The big ones, the big five categories, those don't feel clear cut to me, and I'm scared. And this is the first year that I've actually been like low key, not I wouldn't really call it stalking, but I've been like really into, just mainly this like past week, honestly, into looking at the Oscar race Reddit. I've been like living on there low key, and it's honestly been kind of a vibe. And it also like opened my eyes to like some things that I wasn't aware of, like certain movies being front runners and things like that. So like reading that Reddit has kind of like shaped my predictions in a way based on like, you know, what's been winning and like how the voter distribution and those award shows line up with what the Academy voters look like and stuff like that. Does that make sense? Probably not. And I refuse to explain it further. We're just gonna talk about this, and I want to speed run this because like I said, my brain already hurts thinking about this right now, and I just want to be done, and I just want it to be Sunday already so that it's over, please. But at the same time, like, never let it end. I'm tired. Let's do this. Let's get into my predictions. Oscars 2025. Let's go. Yeah, scrolling to the top, so we're going to be breaking this into what I want to happen / what I think will happen, because a lot of the time what I want to happen does not end up being what actually will probably end up happening. So yeah, I'm going to say what I want to happen versus like what will probably end up happening. We're doing two things there. And also I'm only going to be going through the categories that have the movies that I talked about, because I can't speak on things that I haven't seen. Sorry about it, and I'm sorry that I don't have full knowledge on all of these freaking movies. Even though I'm mainly doing the categories that only have the movies that I've watched, there will be some movies that I haven't seen listed in the category, so I'm gonna have to just pretend like I haven't seen Sing Sing and I haven't seen Colma Domingo in Sing Sing, so I'm kind of just have to like ignore him here. Also haven't seen The Apprentice, refuse to see The Apprentice. Sebastian Stan's here, kind of have to exclude him, whatever. That's what I mean when I say I'm mainly doing the categories where I've seen the movies, but there will be some people and some movies that are in the category that I'm going to be talking about that I just simply don't know because I don't have full knowledge on everything, and I'm sorry about that. First up, actor in a leading role. People are kind of like thinking with the SAG win, some people are like, oh my god, Timothee Chalamet is going to take the Oscar. Some people are like, no, the SAGs are like not, that's not really like a precursor. That's not something you should really like base a lot of stuff on. The overlap between SAG voters with Academy voters is like 1%, so like it doesn't even really matter. Take everything that I'm saying with like a huge grain of salt, because I'm like regurgitating information that I learned from a Reddit. Take everything I say with a grain of salt. Take all this information like allegedly, maybe it's not 1%. Take it all. This is what I learned, and take it with a grain of salt, please and thank you. But yeah, some people are like, Timothy's gonna win it because he just won the SAG. Other people are like, no, Adrien Brody's gonna take it. I personally think Adrien Brody is going to take it. I think even with the brutalist like AI scandal, I think he still might take it. I think he still might take it, because I really just can't imagine Timothee taking it. I don't know when the voting happened, like when the scandal became like its biggest peak, because the scandal is about like him with his accent work. Actually, no, it's not about the accent. It was about him talking in the language itself. I think Hungarian, I could be wrong, but it was like him talking the language itself and like that being like spruced up. Him with his accent, that's him, I'm assuming. So yeah, honestly, we're speedrunning this. Adrien Brody's gonna take it. What I want to happen, I would love a Ralph Fiennes conclave, because I like conclave and I like Ralph Fiennes, and he's a bit of fun to me, so I would want that to happen, but that's not gonna happen, and Adrien Brody will probably take it. I would be very surprised if Timothée Chalamet took it, because getting the SAG win after voting was closed anyway, I don't really think that really proves anything. I really agree with people that are like, it really doesn't mean a lot. So Adrien Brody, you're gonna be taking that Oscar home tonight. Not tonight, Sunday night. Next up, actor in a supporting role. Easy peasy. What I want to happen, what I think is gonna happen, basically the same thing. Kieran Culkin, A Real Pain, he will be taking that. Easy peasy, he will be taking that. Simple yes, and I don't mind that at all. Get your speech ready, baby. His speech at the SAG Awards was actually so hilarious, and I can't wait to see him speak again at the Oscars. So hilarious, so unserious. He's a fun man. Anyway, actress in a leading role. Let's just get this over with, shall we? What I want to happen and what will probably happen, slightly two different things. What I want to happen, Mikey Madison, obviously. I think I've like randomly talked about her a lot throughout this video, that you should just know where I lie on this stance. And Mikey Madison, what I want to happen, 100%, like there will be no ifs, ands, or buts about it. This whole award season, there would have been no ifs, ands, or buts about it. Mikey Madison would be the clear front runner. What I want. This is what I've wanted this entire time. So what I want to happen is Mikey Madison. What will probably happen is the opposite side of things, where it's like Demi Moore, Mikey Madison. Somehow this is like a 50-50 shot. Somehow Demi Moore is like leaning more towards getting it than Mikey, and that's just crazy to me. And if I do hear the word narrative one more time when it comes to Demi Moore's performance in The Substance and her narrative and like how this is like literally her life and blah blah blah, I will have to jump off a bridge, because I'm sorry, I'm so sorry. The narrative surrounding this whole thing with the substance and how this is like literally Demi Moore's life and how she, embodies this role because this role is literally her, whatever. Pack it up and go freaking home, man. Pack it up and go freaking home. Like, the fact that Mikey Madison is absolutely nothing like Anora makes her performance even 1,000 times more better to me. The fact that Demi Moore is like literally just playing herself in a way, I'm like, okay, and it also wasn't even like, let's go back on it again one more time really fast, it wasn't even that phenomenal of a performance. Talk about the last like hour of the movie, great. Talk about most of the movie, meh. Talk about the movie as a whole, good. And that's how I feel about Demi Moore in The Substance. Now talking about Mikey Madison and Anora, from the beginning, phenomenal, to the end, phenomenal. Her whole overall top to bottom, phenomenal. And that's all I have to say on that. What I want to happen, Mikey Madison, will probably end up happening is Demi Moore, or like more of a fight, and I'm scared. And yeah, everybody else, I don't know. Some people are saying like Fernanda Torres like has a good shot, and that's like crazy to hear for me. If she actually won, I'd go absolutely like, whoa. That'd be really surprising to me. Yeah. Next up, actress in supporting role. What I would want to happen is Ariana Grande. I spoke on this already. Her performance in Wicked was really, really good, and I'm gobsmacked that she's been losing so much to Zoe Saldana, and that's like really crazy to me. Once again, I haven't seen Emilia Perez, so I don't know if like all this is warranted. But like, being the best person in a bad movie does not warrant wins. Maybe it warrants a nomination, but it doesn't warrant wins. I'm sorry, Zoe Saldana, but yeah. What I want to happen, Ariana Grande. What will probably end up happening, Zoe Saldana, because she's literally won everything. It's very much a Kieran Culkin vibe, honestly. Like, he's been winning everything as supporting, and she's been winning everything as supporting, so would not be surprised if she took this too. Now we're getting into like more hard things. Cinematography, bruh. The fact that Conclave is not here really grinds my gears. I was actually looking through my camera roll, and I have a photo of a picture I took while watching Conclave, and it was like of the coolest shot ever, and I'll insert it here because I'm like, the fact that this was a shot in the movie, and there were also other shots just like that too that were just so good, and this movie was not nominated for cinematography, is crazy to me. So literally, actually, it's funny because like the only two movies I can speak on here is The Brutalist and Dune Part 2. I've not seen Maria, I have not seen Nosferatu, obviously I've not seen Emilia Perez. Really interesting to me. What the heck? And why wasn't Conclave here? Excuse me? For cinematography, I will be going with The Brutalist. What I want to happen, what will probably happen, is The Brutalist. Dune Part 2 cinematography was like good, but like thinking more about what happened in The Brutalist and like shots there and like different setups and stuff, I'm going with The Brutalist. Me closing my eyes and like picturing it in my head. Even though I literally watched it so long ago at this point, but yeah, going with The Brutalist. What I want to happen, what will happen, The Brutalist. Costume design. I'm feeling Wicked or Conclave with this. What I want to happen is Wicked. What will probably happen is Wicked, but I also wouldn't be surprised if Conclave got it. But at the same time, like, all they're wearing is like the Pope gear. So like, is that really like crazy, cool, fun costume design? I don't know, it gets old after you like look at it for like half the time, like nun stuff. Yeah, like it gets old fast. So yeah, what will probably happen is Wicked. What I want to happen, we'll take Wicked. Yeah, me like convincing myself slowly. I'm like, yeah, me remembering Wicked, yeah. Next up, directing. Okay. Honestly, from the Oscar race Reddit, apparently Sean Baker's like really killing it, and like he is like most likely to win. People are saying like, oh, he's definitely gonna be taking home director, which is crazy. I didn't expect that. Like, when I said the Reddit opened my eyes to things, it opened my eyes to how much Anora is like beloved apparently, and I really didn't, one, expect that, and two, didn't really see that. I personally love Anora, but I always think about the vibe of like things that deserve praise rarely ever get it, sadly, especially like if it's like a smaller ish movie, even though this did get a lot of push, and like the marketing, like they really pushed this movie hard, but still, it's just like compared to like really big name movies with like big production companies behind it and stuff, it just really surprised me how like much Anora is like beloved, whatever. But yeah, like a lot of people are like, Sean Baker's gonna take it. I would be saying Brady Corbet. I think it's like a toss up between them two, honestly, but like, I don't know, did the Brutalist scandal like really like tank these people? I don't know. Final verdict, what I want to happen, Sean Baker. What will probably happen, Sean Baker. Maybe there's a little tiny chance of Brady Corbet slithering his way through somehow, and I wouldn't really hate that. Next up, film editing. This is another thing that the Reddit made me realize, is how much Conclave is beloved. I don't know how to say that word, whatever. People are like, that's gonna take editing, which really, like, I don't know. I don't really see it. I don't really see how, but I don't know if like the editing was like really like super gobsmacking crazy good. Also, same with like Anora too. Like, I don't know how that editing was like super crazy good either. I kind of get the Brutalist. Out of all of these, I think I would get the Brutalist the most. Like when Laszlo and his wife were writing letters back and forth to each other, and there would be like little like montagey moments happening there. That's like good editing. I don't know. What I want to happen is the Brutalist. I'm surprising myself by saying that, but what I want to happen for film editing is the Brutalist. Out of Conclave and Anora, I think what will probably end up happening is Conclave. I think Conclave had a bit more cooler editing vibes than Anora. Don't hold me to anything that I say. allegedly, I don't know. Makeup and hairstyling, this definitely feels like the Substance take. Definitely feels like the Substance will take that. Come on, all those prosthetics. And yeah, simply just the prosthetics. Simply because of the prosthetics. They did what they needed to do there. What will probably happen, what I want even to happen, the Substance. Music original score. Wow. These are our options, huh? Honestly, Conclave. I haven't seen the Conclave literally since November, but I have a clear vision of what that score was compared to the Brutalist. So I want Conclave to win, but I fear the Brutalist might take it. Or maybe Conclave will take it. Okay, what I want to win, Conclave will probably win. Conclave, but the Brutalist is a close second. Some maybe. I don't know. Don't talk to me. I don't know. I'm confused. My brain hurts. I don't know. We're moving on. Best picture, we're gonna save her for last. Production design, Wicked. Sorry, I was like looking, I was like, which option? Wicked production design or Conclave. What I want to happen is Wicked. Very great production design, very great set design, really, really good. But then also I do wonder sometimes like what was actually set and what was actually production and then what was like VFX. Because sometimes I personally can't tell, but I do think it was just like a fun world they created. It was just like a really fun world that they put together. I think Wicked should take production design. What I want to happen is Wicked to take it, and what will probably happen, I could kind of see Conclave having a good vibe. Dune Part 2, I'm like, okay, you're in the sand, big freaking whoop. Even though they do have some cool like set moments, but it also just feels like very like minimal. There's something about Dune Part 2 is very minimal, and like compared to Wicked like went, you know, it just threw it at you. You're brought into this world and like so much cool stuff you're like looking at, like it's a sight to see. So if Wicked doesn't take it, I'd rather see Conclave take it, even though that too, they're simply in the Vatican or wherever they are in like Rome or whatever, picking this new pope. So maybe that production design isn't even that like cool or creative or like a big like spectacle vibe or whatever, even though like you don't need to be a spectacle to have good production design. But when you're up against Wicked and that's a spectacle, I think you need to be a spectacle too to like compete with her. So yeah, going with Wicked, what I want to happen and what will probably happen. Wicked. Next up is sound, and I don't know. Head hurts. I don't know. A complete unknown because it's like music? Is that why? Is that why it's nominated for sound? I don't know. At the same time, I don't even care. What I want to happen, I don't even know what I want. None of these options I want. The fact that the Substance isn't here really grinds my gears because like it easily would have taken sound compared to these options, because like I'm trying to think of like cool sound moments or just like really like stand out sound moments that happen in these movies, and honestly I had empty no thoughts, like literally nothing, and I have nothing to say. Out of these 5, there's nothing that I want to win. So what I'm gonna say, what will probably win is a complete unknown, because singing, sure, why not? Move on now. I'm shutting down slowly. Visual effects. Okay. Have not seen Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. Have not seen Alien. Have not seen Better Man. Dune Part 2 and Wicked, the only 2 things I can speak on right now. And I kind of like spoke on the VFX of Wicked just now. Wicked is just so much more of like a cooler, funner looking movie. So I'm gonna go with that. What I want to happen is Wicked. What will probably happen? Wicked, sure. Whatever. Leave me alone. We're getting into our last moments. Adapted screenplay and original screenplay. And then we have Best Picture and then we're freaking done. Adapted screenplay. Have not seen Sing Sing, so I cannot speak on that. The only one I cannot speak on. Out of these, I want Conclave to take it. After watching the live reading of Conclave, if you're bored and want to have a good time for like 2 hours, go watch the live reading of Conclave. Best thing I've ever seen. The best decision anyone has ever made in their life was whoever decided to let comedy actors read a drama movie, who let comedy actors read the screenplay of Conclave. Best decision ever. I hope you have the greatest sleep of your life every night. I hope you get all the hours of sleep that you need, whoever came up with that idea. I hope your life is just so good, because that's a brilliant idea. It's so freaking funny. And because of that, I'm like, honestly, adapted screenplay, Conclave, baby, you should take it. Conclave, you should take it. That's what I want to happen. What will probably happen is Conclave, honestly. I don't see a complete unknown really taking it. Next up, writing original screenplay. Jesse Eisenberg, you deserve so much better. The fact that A Real Pain was not in Best Picture is really crazy to me. The fact that it did not take the place of Emilia Perez is crazy to me. Yes. What I want to happen is a real pain, simply because Jesse Eisenberg deserves his flowers for that movie. It's a really freaking good movie. And also, I would like to see Anora take it as well. Out of those, I'd be happy. 50-50 toss-up, really, what I want to happen. What will probably happen is just simply Anora. Sorry to write you off the substance, but I think the best part of that movie were the performances in it rather than what the screenplay was. And I don't even really like the performances in that movie, so that kind of says a lot. Don't look at me. So what I want to happen, a real pain or Anora, 50-50 toss-up, either of those two. What will probably happen is simply just Anora, because Sean Baker is beloved. Still don't know how to say that word. And that's crazy news to hear, and honestly, he deserves it. Still haven't watched The Florida Project yet. Still haven't watched Tangerine yet, but whatever. Okay, now we're going into Best Picture, and I can't display them all at once, but the ones down there don't really matter anyway. Whatever. So going back to the Reddit once again, and also at the same time, once again, take all this with a grain of salt. Apparently, Anora and Conclave are the front runners for Best Picture, which was news to me. And honestly, out of all these movies I saw, except for Emilia, Perez, the fact that Anora and Conclave are the front runners makes a lot of sense to me. And I think if I hadn't seen the Reddit, like, I would just be feeling like biased in a way of like being like, yes, Anora or Conclave should be taking home Best Picture. I would have been feeling like biased because like those are my favorite movies because I saw them even before they were nominated and whatever. But yeah, the fact that they are actually the front runners, according to the Oscar race Reddit, allegedly, take everything I say with a grain of salt. The fact that they're front runners is like really cool to see. Honestly, if it's either of those two, I actually don't care. Like, what I want to happen and what will probably happen, 50-50 toss up to me. I don't care which one of those wins, as long as it's one of those two. Now, if we somehow get like the brutalist or something, honestly, I wouldn't mind I'm Still Here even taking it. I don't even know how to like think about that and like how that statistically and like numbers wise, like lining up, whatever. I'm kind of overthinking about numbers and like thinking about everything statistically, and that's like what the Oscar race Reddit is, a lot of comparing of numbers and different award shows and this and that, and like what's most acclaimed and what's gotten a lot of accolades and how does this compare to this, and my brain hurts. I'm tired of it. So now we're just gonna talk about vibes. If I'm Still Here won, I wouldn't mind that, and that's the only other one that if it won, I'd be okay. Maybe even Wicked too, frick it. Honestly, I forgot to say this earlier, but Wicked is actually my Oppenheimer of this year. A movie that I didn't want to see, but actually ended up liking a lot. It's Wicked. Yeah, itchy eye. Sorry about it. Anyway, though, what I want to happen will probably happen. Kind of the same thing. Anora, Conclave, 50-50 shot. I don't care which one takes it, as long as one of those two take it. Honestly, Anora taking it would kind of be like really cool. Would be a bit more cooler than Conclave, but I also really like Conclave, so I, in fact, don't really care. And that's simply that. At the end of the day, I don't care about any of this. I'm tired. I'm tired of thinking about these movies. I'm tired of thinking about how close Mikey Madison is to beating Demi Moore, the opposite or vice versa. The fact that Demi Moore might take it and Mikey Madison I'll always be a Mikey Madison defender, and I'll always want the best for her, and the fact that she's not gonna win makes me sad, blah blah blah. Like, I'm tired of thinking about it. I'm tired of going on the Reddit and thinking and like seeing everybody's analysis and like who they're riding for and like what their predictions are and this and that, and I'm like tired. So I can't wait for Sunday to happen so this can be over, and I hope we're all in the same boat about that. Anyway, that's it for this video. I'm starting to get my throat, I can't really speak. I've been talking too long, so it's time for me to stop talking. And yeah, thanks for watching. I don't know what else to say. Another Oscar award season year in the books. This was a rough one. I hope next year's better. Happy Oscar season to you and yours. Happy Oscars if you celebrate. Thank you. Bye. Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye now.